Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You've got all your Charger gear on because...
I look good. Hey, bite down from play one now.
And he is dicked.
Those guys don't all suck.
I love you too. Bye.
You have to love what you're seeing on tape if you're a Chargers fan, especially for the future with Justin Herbert.
On the move and throws and touchdown.
You don't let all the noise affect you. You don't worry about what's going on outside of the field.
Oh, yeah. Stay tuned for some good content.
Well, all right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Charger Chat. I'm your co-host, Wolldog, smiling with two Duggan brothers, like Kev Huggin Duggan.
Well, hello, everyone.
And Kyle the Coach Duggan.
Hi, guys.
Hey, man, what a game. That was, I mean, you go into this game just like kind of crossing your arms going like, all right, Chargers, impress me. Show me what you got after losing last week, 45-0. What could you possibly have to say against the Falcons? And sure enough, we come out with a win. Like, what the heck happened? Like, that was so weird.
It was going the way it should have gone every other week, where we blew it and throw an interception and then we get it right back. Like, we just answered. It was just like,
Luckily, we're playing ourselves.
It was that Spider-Man meme thing that, you know, on the last episode we were talking about. It's just like, no, you're going to do it. No, I'm going to do it. You're going to do it. We're playing
We're playing the Southeast Chargers, the Atlanta Chargers.
Exactly. So
just
it was
blowing leads at the end of the game. It was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah. It's nice to get a win. Like, it just feels better. It was easier to figure out what we're going to talk about on the show. It was more fun interacting with people on the internet. It was just, everything was better about it.
Everything was 10 times better. So let's relive that moment as we go back and see what exactly happened during this game.
And I just need to preface something real quick. I am right in the middle of finding out if I am going to win or lose my fantasy playoff game. And Lamar Jackson is out with cramps. So I just want to let you know, if I start crying or if I get insanely excited, that's what happened. So my apologies. Back to the podcast.
Okay. There you go, folks. You've all been warned. Kevin is on a roller coaster
not
right
paying
now.
attention to us.
He's not. Totally
I am. Just looking at those numbers, hopefully not go anywhere.
All right. So Chargers were first to put points on the board. Justin Herbert launched a dart to Keenan Allen, giving the Chargers an early lead of 7-0 in the first quarter. Falcons responded on the immediate drive. Scores tied at 7-7. Second quarter sees ex-Charger Younghoe Koo nail a field goal to give the Falcons their first lead of the day. Chargers bounce back with Nasir Adderley, a 76-yard kickoff return. What? Who let him out there? And what has 76-yard? Where you been, buddy?
We got the most expensive special teams coordinator in the NFL.
I mean, how many guys have returned kicks this year? This is like fifth, sixth guy to return a kick this year. And he does 76 yards. Like, I'm flabbergasted, but also slightly flabbergasted that we couldn't turn that into a touchdown. We had to settle for a Badgley field goal.
Hey, he made it.
He made it. Listen, he made it. We're all happy for him. But Atlanta would get themselves one more touchdown before the end of the half, and the Chargers, well, they opted not to. The half ends with Falcons up 17-10.
We'll get into that.
They just chose no points.
They made a choice, and their choice was nothing. So. Third quarter didn't look so hot until Rayshawn Jenkins nabbed his first interception of the game. Chargers
paid him his money.
He gave him his money. Chargers capitalized on the turnover, and Herbert threw his second TD of the day to Tyrod Johnson. It works both ways. They tied the score now 17 each. So we're going into the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, boy, saw an old familiar face. Seeming to just pop up out of nowhere. Jaleel Adai swooped in and plucked a ball out of the air, one of Matt Ryan's passes. Chargers' second interception of the game. Chargers' drive ended with an interception. And with 43 seconds left in the game, all hope started to be lost. The game was tied. Atlanta had the ball. Their kicker has been perfect all season. It was looking to be another sad Charger loss. But who was that? It's Michael Davis intercepting Ryan for his third one of the day. Now the game is in our hands. We get the ball down the field thanks to Herbie making some great passes to Hunter Henry and Tyrone Johnson. Badgley is set up to do what he's paid to do and kick us a mother-loving 43 game-winning field goal. And you know what? He did, little Timmy. He did. Chargers win.
Merry
20-17.
Christmas, everyone.
Everyone. My goodness.
Oh,
How many, dude, I was watching the game with my dad. I was like, Dad, there's about a 3% chance that Badgley makes this field goal right now. 3% is what I'll give
That's
him.
all we're giving him.
He did it. He nailed it.
Did it, man.
I was so excited.
I was shocked because I was in the same feeling.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we're going into overtime. Like, this is what's going to happen. And I was just sitting there, like, just preparing myself to be grumpy. And what did he do? Right down the middle.
You didn't blow it.
Totally redeemed himself.
Yeah. Everyone was asking, does he get the money back in his name? No, he's still Badgley. He's,
man,
you're probably going to have to go to the bank and get a loan for his money back. But
if we look at just the game,
strong, like I like him as our kicker, man. I do. Like, you can have slump, you can whatever. Like, finish out the year strong. Like, make all your kicks. Like, that's what we need right now.
Absolutely. Right. Let's knock some people out of playoff contention like we did with Atlanta. They are out now that we have beat them. So take that, Atlanta. Put it in your pipe and smoke it.
That's our second team we've knocked out of the playoffs, right? We knocked the Jets out technically.
We attributed. We helped.
Yeah. They didn't need much though. I don't know if we were the dagger in that situation.
Yeah. We weren't.
Oh, no.
We were dagger number 7.
I got some
helping the Jets.
Kevin.
I got some bad news. I think Lamar Jackson
Trace
came out of
the just got hurt and Jackson just ran out.
Sorry, still on track.
The perfect amount of time to throw a touchdown for Kevin to lose.
Don't, Kyle.
I hope
don't
this
you
happens.
dare put this
I hope
on
we
me.
all get
Okay,
to
let's get back to our game. But like, it was so fascinating to me in this game, like, because it didn't feel like this, but we held them to 0 points in that second half. Like, I was not going back and looking at it. Like, I swear to God they scored, but they didn't.
Nope. It's it was a weird game. We were given a lot of great opportunity, especially on issues like with Nasir Adderley running it back. Like, that's like, okay, you're primed to like take advantage of that, and to have it only be a kick. I mean, he made it, which is great, but like, and then that whole second half or the first half business going into the half was just like, what in the world is happening? Like, it was so perplexing. The entire thing was perplexing. But defense did well enough, at least. It wasn't looking good in that first half, but you're right. The whole second half, they kept them to 0 points, and that's really impressive.
The end of the first half, I think, was a blatant lack of leadership. It's just no one's in charge. No one knows who's doing what. I heard in a post-game interview that Coach Lynn said they asked him about what happened at the end of the first half, and he said we should have never run the ball.
Get ready. We have a soundbite of it. We actually have him saying it, and it was a non-denial accusation of who it wasn't his fault. It was on OC.
Right.
Like, I would have never have made that call. Is the vibe that he gave off with that?
Exactly. But you're the head coach. And you've already been in every pot of every aspect of every part of this team. Don't go now trying to point fingers at other people for not doing the right thing. If you're the head coach at the end of the half and you want the ball thrown, get the ball thrown. Don't cop out like that. That was pretty weak, dude. I didn't like that.
I thought it was interesting because you're right. Lynn, would not say. He was asked like 2 or 3 times, and his only answer was, we should not run the ball in that situation. And when I watched Herbert in his post-game interview and they asked him what was going on, he said the plan was to run the ball, spike it, and then, kick it if that was the case. If they couldn't get a touchdown on the run, they would run, spike it, and kick it. But it's 3rd and 1. And so now it's 4th down. And that was the situation. I think they were planning to at least get the first down to kick it, but like, why wouldn't you try to go for a touchdown, dude? Like, if you're expecting to kick it, like, go for the 7 points. Don't go for 3. Well,
no matter what, you throw the ball there because the clock stopped.
Exactly.
Right? Either you get the first down or the clock is stopped. Those are the only 2 options. So you never run the ball on 3rd and 1 with no timeouts. It's just you just don't do it.
And the clock is ticking.
Exactly. So even if you get the first down, you got to get to the ball and spike it. But if you don't get it, like us, you can't clock it because that's fourth down.
Right.
So you have to be more prepared. If you're gonna run the ball, you have to have a second play already called that you're gonna run, or you already know that special teams is coming on instantly to kick the field goal.
Right.
No one knew what was going on. And this is coming out of a timeout, right? This was not, oh, we have 25 seconds on the play clock, we got to get it done. This is coming out of a timeout. The head coach had plenty of time to go and put his 2 cents in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's going to, after the game, whine and complain about how he didn't think it should have been done. I don't know.
Well, and I thought it was interesting too. Like Daniel Popper tweeted, looking through the TV broadcast, and Daniel Popper is very much like not a huge Lentz fan right now, from what I've gathered in all of his post game questions and that kind of stuff. But looking through the TV broadcast now, Anthony Lynn clearly turns to OC Shane Steichen at the end of the first half and makes a throwing motion with his arm. Obviously, did not know a run was coming on that third down and did not approve of the call for obvious reasons. So, you know, you can be pissed about it, but you're still the head coach and he's still your offensive coordinator. So, you know, and then the more interesting thing is the Los Angeles Times caught a picture of Dean Spanos and Tommy T in the box, and Dean's like, "What are we doing?" There's like a picture of him like hands up, like, what is happening right now? So, it's
Coach
even
Lynn
with the
still has
win,
his job.
Even with the win, it doesn't feel like Lynn is, you know, doesn't feel good for him in any way, shape, or form. So
no, like I said in the instant reaction, things look good for him getting a special teams coordinating position next year, though.
For sure.
No,
for sure. I mean, clearly communication seems to be an issue as far, at least in that particular situation. And I think in general, communication between coordinators and Lynn seems to be a problem. Gus seems to be the only one that he trusts, and at least looking at the second half, rightfully so, because they were able to keep him from scoring any points at all. So it was baffling. But looking at the numbers here, what did you see here, Kev, looking at some of the stats that came out of that game?
I was surprised at the time of possession. Like, we had it almost 10 minutes longer than them. It did not feel like that kind of game to me. It didn't feel like we had more rushing yards, you know, our 105 to their 70. Our passing was right down the middle. It didn't feel like that kind of game. It was kind of a boring game. There were elements where it was like, we're just doing all these screens, all these like little check down things. And it's like somebody made the comparison where it was like Herbert is a Bucati, and you're having him drive to the grocery store.
What's with all these comparisons to automobiles?
It was the hard knocks thing.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. It's his, it makes sense. It's like you're not letting him loose, and maybe that's why we were able to control that game and not make any huge, things and give them the ball more, and that's why we had, time possession was on our side. But yeah, I was just overall surprised watching that game. It didn't feel like that.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with our drives. Like, outside of that Nasir Adderley run back, all of our drives started pretty deep, and because those interceptions were back in our territory. I mean, Rayshon's was in the end zone. Jaleel Adai's was also in Charger territory, and Michael Davis, I'm pretty sure, was on the Charger side of the 50.
All three were on our side.
So all those ended up having to be big drives. Like, those are 80-yard drives that, if all we're doing is screen passes and just kind of checking it down, like, it's going to take some time. And so, yeah, that's an extra 10 minutes on our side, and clearly was helpful in us getting the win.
Yeah, and I think going back to the halftime thing, we pulled a soundbite where you get Lynn's perspective on what happened, and then you get Herbert's perspective, because I think Herbert is talking to the OC a little more, and I think Lynn's kind of doing his own thing. Like, as he said in his press conference, he's spread a little thin. So
okay,
maybe let's take a peek.
Let's take a listen.
Which you just can't. We try to be aggressive, but you cannot run the ball in that situation. And that right there that's an area where we have got to improve as a coaching staff, communication wise, and we will. But you cannot run the ball there.
So, just to follow up on that, it's the second time you've done that in a very similar situation.
And I'm going to say it again: we cannot run the ball in that situation.
How do you ensure that?
I don't want to go into that, but that will get better. But we cannot run the ball. You just can't.
No, just the plan was to get the yard, spike it, and set ourselves up. But it's unfortunate that it went that way, and we need to be better, especially with that situation. But going forward, we'll be better.
All right. Well, just like we talked about, it's Lynn is not willing to point the finger, and Herbert's at least willing to say what the plan was. So it sounds like Steichen's plan to do that, right?
That's what it sounded like. It sounded like they thought they were going to get the first down, and then they just didn't even consider the fact that they...
Or did they think like they had an extra timeout? Because when Hunter Henry got hurt, that ate up a timeout. So I wonder if maybe there was some confusion on how many timeouts we had left.
It's just a lot of confusion.
But here's what it is. Regardless, if you're the head coach, you better know what's going on. And he had no idea. He wasn't even involved in the play call on a third down at the end of the half. And that's the biggest issue is I don't want him to be calling the plays. He has an OC to do that.
He shouldn't.
But in a timeout, you have plenty of time to talk to the OC, be like, hey, we're throwing it here, right? Or, hey, what's the plan? I need to know what to do, especially being the special teams coordinator. If we're going for it on third down, running the ball, am I going to need to get the guys out there quick? I'll call kick PAT alert or field goal alert and get the guys ready to go on. But none of that happened.
Right.
So that's the biggest issue is just Anthony Lynn is not a head coach. And that's what we're coming to see. He's a good coach and he's going to go be a good coach somewhere, but he's not a head coach. He's not aware of everything going on in a football game.
Right.
Well, and it makes me wonder, like, did Rivers' leadership and ability to be like the coach on the field disguise Lynn's faults as, a head coach? Because we didn't run into any of these. We didn't run into any of these, during Phil's tenure because Phil was the coach.
Timeouts. Phil was making the adjustments at the line. He was doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So now you have a rookie who you need to help a little bit, and he's incapable of helping him.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I'm glad we got the win. It doesn't feel totally earned, but I will take it.
Right. Yeah. Much like week one, it doesn't feel like we should have walked away with a win, but we will absolutely take it. So looking at some of the positives that came out of this, by the way, Atlanta, you just lost to the Sheldon High School Fishing Club president. Congratulations.
I saw that meme. I was just like, that's really funny. Whenever we win, somebody posts that, Herbert holding a fish. It's awesome.
Where is he fishing? I can see like a freeway signage behind him. He's fishing.
It looks like California.
A highway pond.
Sheldon
High
School?
in Oregon. He's up in Oregon.
It's in Oregon. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
It's in Eugene. He was like a local kid that went to the University of Oregon.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Speaking of Herbert, man, he's just, I mentioned it on the instant reaction. I want this guy just to crush every possible rookie quarterback record that he can at this point. With the season gone at this point, I just want this guy to have more confidence going into a sophomore season than any other quarterback that's out there.
And you could see that in his face after this game. Like he was smiling.
Oh, big time.
He was happy, hugging his teammates. That's the kind of crap that we need. I know everyone wants the draft pick. That's a consolation for a loss. When you win, allow it. Like I love seeing these guys excited and happy playing the game.
This is future preparation for him. This is getting him comfortable because we want our team to be good next year, and we're going to be good if Herbert's good. That's just the fact. We can draft as many offensive linemen we want, but if he's not comfortable and he's not like in the groove and finishes the season off strong, I think it's detrimental. I think you need to have him have a good finish and win these games. Let's win out.
Honestly, just an aside from the episode, I saw Bolt God make a post that like we win the game and we moved up a spot on the draft order. And I'm looking at it right now. Chargers are pick number 5 right now on the draft order. Yeah.
I think the other crappy teams also did pretty well this weekend.
Right.
So
it
worked out in our favor.
I think we won, and we've still got a 5th pick in the draft right now. So for those that are complaining about losing a draft pick, I'm not worried about it.
I just think it's focusing on the wrong thing. I think it's not, it's the immediate, like we've been in such a bad mood for so long. You're like the one thing you were looking forward to are draft picks, and we win a game and you're like, oh, that's ruining the thing I was looking forward to. Yeah. I was looking forward to Justin Herbert winning a game, having a game-winning drive.
Right.
That's what I was looking forward to. That's what I want.
Right.
I don't really care about the draft right now. Let's go beat these AFC West teams and knock the Raiders, first of all, knock the Raiders out of the playoffs.
That would be amazing. That would absolutely be amazing.
Do we have an opportunity to do that if we beat
Oh,
them?
we do. I have some stats for us at the very end here.
Okay. Yeah, don't get ahead of us here, Kyle.
Yeah.
Right now, Herbert is sitting in pretty good company with other rookie quarterbacks with 25 or more touchdowns: Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson, Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert. So pretty dang impressive. Right now, it looks like he needs just over 1,150 yards to pass Andrew Luck on most yards for a rookie quarterback. 3 more touchdowns to pass Baker Mayfield. We've got 3 more games left. And 84 completions to pass Carson Wentz, which is basically 28 per game. So as long as Herbert's playing every game that we have left this season, there's a pretty good chance.
Stars might align for him to be the number 1 rookie QB, and it's going to be hard to argue that when it comes to the rookie of the year.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So let's go, Herbie.
Let's go.
Get us these W's and get you some records, my man.
Let's do it, Seabass. And looking at other records, I mean, again, like you want to see these guys have good games, good seasons. Keenan Allen is now got the most receptions in NFL history in the first 100 games, and my man did it in 99. He has 623 receptions in less than 100 games. That's insane. That's the most of any wide receiver in NFL history. Anybody, I think, not just wide receiver. I think anybody in NFL history.
Yeah,
it's absolutely
he just
crazy.
Passed Antonio Brown.
Unbelievable.
622.
Unbelievable.
And it was such a bummer to see him go down on that last drive. You were hoping to have him at the end of the game there, but
right.
It's looking to see it just shows what Herbert's capable. We're taking, undrafted guys or guys that really weren't in the league last year and making them big names like
Tyron Johnson.
Yeah,
seriously,
Tyron
man.
Johnson.
It's kind of like a Malcolm Floyd vibe going on right now. The kind of unsung hero guy that's going to kind of make a name for himself because you have a quarterback that has the ability to get him the ball and he's quick and he's going to make him shine. So it's exciting.
Exactly. And
this was one thing I was kind of interested in, Kyle, and I want to pick your brain. Maybe you'll talk about it later, but the defense this week, they changed it up a lot. So just kind of a rundown of what they did. Joey Bosa started at Leo, Melvin Ingram's original position. He lined up there for the Buffalo Bills, which he had an insane game. And then Isaac Rochelle started for Jerry Tillery, which I thought was a little surprising. And then they did a few things at linebacker, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. They also moved defensive end Nwosu to the Sam Otto, and Nick Vigil to Will, and Kenneth Murray to Mike. So why the shuffle? Why do you see them doing some of that stuff?
Well, Kenneth Murray's been playing the mic, so I don't know if that's a big adjustment. Joey Bosa also last week played the Leo, and he had a lot of success when Melvin Ingram was out. But in reality, the Leo versus playing the strong side end, it's just what side of the ball you're playing on in certain formations. Not a huge change for those guys. Isaac Rochelle, I think they wanted to see what they have. He's coming into a contract year. They're trying to move him around to see. And I think we did a decent job of that in this last week, was getting guys in positions where you say, hey, are we wanting to pay them next year? And what versatility do they have? What we're in the coach's corner. We're going to talk a little bit about Jaleel Adai's interception, the position he was playing versus what he normally plays. I think we are trying to move pieces around to see what we have for next year. And I think that's exciting. It's a good decision from the coaches to just see what we have. So we are definitely moving pieces around a little bit. There's not a huge amount of flex, but just seeing what guys got. Although it can get a little bit worrisome because if you're not comfortable playing a spot, you're not going to play fast. So
yeah,
it didn't seem like that was the case. No one was confused at all. But they did. I think they're trying to see what kind of versatility they have.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah, I think looking at our team and how unfortunately often we have injured players, we need those guys that can play multiple spots or a little bit more of a Swiss Army knife of a player that have some of those gadgets in their back pocket. So it'd be great to have. Isaac Rochelle is a guy that I would love to keep around. He was nominated this last week for the Walter Payton
Man of the Year
award, I guess. Yeah. So great to have him. And I hope that we can keep him around for sure, just to just for that insurance and just for that flexibility.
Right.
Especially looking at that in this last game. Unfortunate for Bosa because, like you said, played last week against the Bills and had a phenomenal game, and this week was pretty quiet. Didn't get a sack.
Kind of disappeared a little bit.
So I think certain teams just don't give him the credit he deserves, and that's when he blows up. If teams aren't chipping him and double teaming him, and I saw a play where they had 3 guys blocking Joey Bosa.
Wow.
They had a tight end, a tackle, and a running back all keying on Joey. So they just decided that he's not going to beat us.
We're going to take
Good
him
luck
out of the
with
game.
the rest of your guys. Right. So they just eliminated him from the game.
Yeah, that was my thought. That was what was happening, but I was too much. My eyes were too much on the ball. I wasn't watching what else was happening on the field. But looking at the special teams, man, boy, the announcers, they just love to rub our nuts in it when we're bad, we're bad. And wanted to point out to us that the Chargers special teams, or the not so special teams, Waka Waka, 33.6 net punt average, 18 penalties, 10 missed kicks, 4 kicks blocked, 3 touchdowns allowed. All of those.
All
worst in the NFL.
Like, you just go back and look at our games, and like, if we don't even have to be the worst. Say we're like the 28th special teams. How many more W's does that put on our record? It's just absolutely mind blowing that we can be so like decent in these other offense and defensively, but special teams is so piss poor that it could have been a different story.
I agree. It's like a gimme area of the team that people just expect you to have a kicker, people expect you to have a punter, and just have them do what they're supposed to do. But apparently and clearly there's so much more that's involved in having a good special teams that it can obviously make or break plenty of games, and we've seen it all season. Blessedly, Badgley was perfect yesterday. Adderley had his 76 kickoff return. It was just that end of the first half debacle where special teams didn't know if are we kicking it? Are we going for it? Time's running out.
Yeah.
And that's the ball game. So that was really, that's still a special teams kind of blunder right there. But let's see what Lynn had to say about his involvement with the special teams.
You know what, Gilbert, I felt like I was spreading myself a little thin there, but it went smooth. It'll get better every single week, I'm sure. But the communication was clear. I think we had 11 guys on the field this time. And so I was proud of the way those guys played. I thought we was going to get a touchdown, a kickoff return by Nas. He did a heck of a job of finding that seam, and guys did a heck of a job of blocking. But I thought overall the process was smooth. And like I say, it'll just get smoother.
Smooth like butter.
And before we get into this, I just want to let you guys know I lost my fantasy football.
I've got it up here on the screen, big guy.
So it's okay. Even talking to you guys makes me feel better about this. So let's just keep it rolling. I'm not gonna think
the
about
Chargers
this anymore.
won. Fantasy football doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Fantasy is a fantasy. Chargers is real.
Just throw that $100 away. Okay, moving on.
If it makes you feel better, I didn't make the playoffs, so my $100
It actually does make me feel a lot better.
None of us did.
Considerably better.
None of the co-hosts of the Charge Chat podcast made it to the finals in fantasy football. Neither did Papa Duggan. So this was just like the Chargers. This was just not our year for football.
But just hearing Lynn say that it spread him thin, but he's gonna continue doing it. Like, you need to have somebody come out and run other things. Then, like, you need a quality control. You need something. You need to give the timeout calls to somebody else. It's kind of
give it to Rex Ryan's son. Let him run with
right.
it.
There you go.
It's just like Kyle was saying.
Give him a shot.
Like at the end of that first half, special teams coordinator would have asked, "Are we going to kick? What's the plan? What are we doing?" And would have just been that one more voice out there asking what's going on at the end of this first half. And it's still just mind-boggling that's how that first half
What was
ended.
Coach Lynn doing?
That's what I'm saying.
What was he doing during that timeout? Just picking his nose?
I don't know.
What on earth was he doing?
I don't know. And nobody seems to know. It was funny though, seeing Badgley kind of quickly run out there to try to kick the field goal.
He did it. He made it though.
They did snap it. And he kicked it. He made it.
We had 15 guys on the field.
Yeah,
but it was,
we had most of our team was out there.
Right. So it is what it is at this point. We won. We're happy about it. We'll try to move on. Looking at the injury report in that last game, obviously we heard Balaga going out with a concussion, Trey Turner going, or at least concussion protocol. Same thing with Trey Turner, concussion protocol. Keenan Allen was having some hammy issues, so a little bit worrisome. I mean, especially for Balaga and Turner, guys that we've been missing practically all season, to now go into concussion protocol. Like, what is with these linemen, these Chargers that are just like made of glass, man, and just they get their bell rung and they're done for half the season. I can't wrap my head around it.
The right side of our line is pretty cursed this year, but I don't know. It's kind of there's a lot of people on this injury report, but it was a walk. Since we have a Thursday game, it was a walkthrough, so it's not that worrisome yet. We'll find out tomorrow, like how many more of these did not participates we have, but hopefully these guys can just be ready. I can't imagine like playing a game like that on Sunday, then having to turn it around that quickly to play on Thursday. Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah. And an away game for us too. Luckily, it's not that far away, but still having to travel. That's tough. And facing a divisional opponent.
Right. I think that's the bigger part of that there. Just to go through the list, I won't go list all the injuries, but Nasir Adderley, Keenan Allen, Brian Balaga, Austin Eckler, Chris Harris, Hunter Henry, Cole Mazza, Uchenna Nwosu, Denzel Perryman, Troy Maine-Pope, Joe Reed, Trey Turner, and Mike Williams, all currently on the injury report. So hopefully, that is a lot.
None of them practiced except for Cole Mazza.
Right. Apparently, Cole Mazza threw.
He's just out there by himself, just long snapping into a wall.
Long snapping on air. He can do it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see some practices on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we've got a Thursday night game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But before we get into any of what's going to happen on Thursday, let's look now to the coach, who's already teased a little bit about what he's going to be talking about today in Coach's Corner. What do you got for us today, Coach?
Yeah, so I wanted to look at the three biggest plays of the game, and I think those are the turnovers that we created on defense, those interceptions. There's a couple of reasons why I think there were such big plays, and Kevin kind of alluded to it earlier. It was when they happened and what part of the field they happened and what was going on around it. So our first interception, all these were second half turnovers. The first one was the third quarter. It was 1st and 10. They were already at our 43-yard line. So this was already this was a 4.5 minute drive that they were already into. So it was like 8 plays, 4.5 minutes. They had already driven the ball down the field. And that's why we kind of felt like they were beating us up and shocked that they didn't score, because these long sustained drives is when we got our turnovers. So it was third quarter, 1st and 10 at our 43. It was 17-10. They were up. So they're in this weird set. So they were in a 22 nub set is what I call it. So there's 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, and on one side of the field, there's no wideout. So you call that a nub when it's just a tight end on that side.
I like that little nub.
Yeah, little nub. So our defense was in this inverted cover 3. So it's still a cover 3, still has the same zones, but Kenneth Murray, our linebacker, was actually responsible for one of the deep zones. He carried the tight end all the way downfield. So it looks a little bit different, but you can definitely tell we have a high safety. Our corner is off the ball. I honestly watched that play over and over and over, and I could not figure out what led Matt Ryan to think he's going to throw the ball deep to his his only receiver. He only had 1 receiver on the field. It was 2 tight ends and 2 running backs and 1 wide receiver. And he thinks, I got the matchup by 1. I'm throwing deep. I still can't really figure out what he was thinking. He was this is honestly just, I'm going to take a shot. We have a lead. I'm going to throw it deep, I guess. But Rayshon, he was back at his comfortable, normal free safety position up high over the top. He did a great job staying deeper than the deepest route. And honestly, it was a pretty easy routine interception for the guy. It wasn't, the play wasn't fantastic. I don't know why Matt Ryan threw it, but it was a little bit of a momentum and game changer, because it was at the end of a 4.5 minute drive. They got no points off of it, and we get the ball only down 7 still. They were almost in field goal range to make it a 2-score game, which would have been a big momentum changer. We were able to get that interception, get the ball to 20, and go try to make something happen. So that was a pretty big play. I can't really understand what Matt Ryan was thinking, but This was another example of our bend, don't break philosophy of Gus Bradley is we'll give up yards. They can get to our side of the field. We're just going to hope that we can make a play and we have talent to make something happen to either keep them to 3 or to get them off the field. So that bend, don't break worked for us on that series. The second one, this was the fourth quarter. There's only 3 minutes and 50 seconds left. It was 2nd and 17 in a tie ball game. So we were 17-17. It was 2nd down and 17. So this is a big kind of a look at getting them in 2nd down and long, 3rd and long. It opens up. You can just be so creative and you can do so many different things when you get them in these situations. So this was the end of a 5-minute drive. They had the ball for 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. And they got down all the way to our side of the field. There was 2nd and 17. So we were in dime personnel. What that means is your basic personnel coverage, you have 4 defensive backs. You have 2 safeties and 2 corners. In nickel, you have 5. So you bring in a nickel corner. So you have 3 corners, 2 safeties, and then in a dime you have 6 defensive backs. So what happened was this was the interception that Jaleel Adai had, but he was playing it looked like a linebacker because he was playing that dime position where you bring that extra 6 defensive back in, but he was in as a middle linebacker. And it was because it was 2nd and 17. You know they're going to throw the ball. You bring in as many defensive backs so you can be as athletic as you can. He did a really good job. He just read Matt Ryan's eyes. And we all know Jaleel Adai is one of the most aggressive football players on planet Earth. And so he just he saw the play and he just drove on it as fast as he could. Matt Ryan pumped. He had to get a little pump fake. He wanted to go deep, tried to settle, and Jaleel Adai jumped on it and made a great play. But like I said, that was the end of a 5-minute drive and a tie ball game at the end of the fourth quarter. There was only 3.5 minutes left. Again, bend, don't break. I know it's hard to watch. Believe me, all game I was like, God, we're just getting torn apart. We're getting just these what look like such easy routes underneath. But bend, don't break, and we were able to make a play. And the final interception, the third one, there was 34 seconds left in the game.
It's crazy.
1st and 10 on our 45-yard line. So they were about near in field goal range to end the game. We ended up running man-to-man coverage. We didn't blitz anyone, which honestly, I don't know why you don't blitz when you run man-to-man. We didn't blitz anyone. We run man-to-man, so we had that extra hole player. So if you don't blitz, you have that linebacker you would blitz. He gets to sit there and kind of read the quarterback's eyes and run side to side, take away some crossing routes. But what happened was we were in man-to-man. We didn't blitz anybody, but Bosa got an awesome jump on the ball. He saw that snap and he got an awesome jump, got right up into Matt Ryan's face. He didn't get a pressure. He didn't get a sack on the stat sheet technically, but because of Bosa's pressure, Matt Ryan had to float the ball a little bit. We all saw and you heard the commentators saying Matt Ryan has to put that ball on the line to get there in time. Well, he couldn't because Joey's head was in the way of his follow through. So he had to loft it a little bit, and it gave Mike Davis, who there was some space there, but in man-to-man, if the timing's not right, he's going to get there. And so because that ball was lofted a little, Mike Davis was able to make a great play on the ball and pick it off. So it was a great individual effort by Mike, but he wouldn't have been able to make that play if it wasn't for Joey Bosa getting in the face of Matt Ryan. So overall, I'm just happy to see us make the play.
Absolutely.
How many of those Rayshawn Jenkins picks have we dropped? The easy, obvious, right there in your face, should have picked it, but drop it. So we made those were big, those are humongous plays, man. That's at least 6-point swing with those interceptions if we held them to just field goal. So it was a big deal getting those interceptions.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's just those intangibles with Joey Bosa. Even when he doesn't show up on the sheet, he's making 3 guys block him or just getting close enough to get the pressure to. The quarterback always has to think about the Bosa. Where's the Bosa? Where is he? What's going on? And the fact that you saw that in the film, that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had to take a quick glance here just to see how many interceptions we've had on the season. And right now we're looking at 9 total. So that was 3 in one game there. And couldn't have asked for them at better times. Like you said, they're on our side of the field, and they're, for all intents and purposes, they've got Younghoe Koo, who's been, nailing 50+ yard field goals.
Aren't you guys glad we didn't have to deal with that?
God, man, it always felt like he's gonna kick it. Like they're in field goal range now. Even if they go to 3 and out, 3 downs and they're out, like Younghoe's gonna kick it. He's gonna kick it. He's gonna kick it. And then all of a sudden, you got Jaleel Mike Davis coming in and just plucking the ball out of nowhere, and absolutely amazing. So thankful to have those guys out there.
More of that, please.
More of that, please. All right. Thank you, Kyle, for breaking it down for us knuckleheads who just watch the football and nothing else. Now let's look over to Fan Focus. And I think we've got a bit of a special one this week. What do we got this week, Kev?
We absolutely do. We talked with somebody. I don't want to reveal it yet, but somebody very close to one of our players.
Really?
And specifically one of our players that has one of the dopest mullets I've ever seen.
Oh my. All right. Well, let's see. Let's see who's behind door number 1.
All right. We are here with a very, 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 very special guest. We have Emily Warfield, and Emily is the girlfriend of Dan Feeney. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Emily.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And so just right off the bat, let's get this out of the way first. The mullet, it's kind of taken on a life of its own. How do you feel about the mullet?
Yes, I was not happy at first, for sure, because it just keeps evolving over time more and more. But, he keeps it, I make sure he keeps it trimmed up every 2 weeks. Every second Tuesday, he's on their off day going to the barber shop. So I got nervous when the lockdown starting again out here in California. And I was like, please tell me your barber's still open, because you've got to make sure you're going. If not, I will figure out how to do it myself.
Some YouTube tutorials, something like that.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And my stepmom, she's actually a hairdresser too, back in Indiana before she started her full-time gig now. And she actually cut it when we were back home this off season. Dan definitely thought we were jumping. We were talking to each other and gonna make him shave it off on accident, make it look bad, so we'd have to shave it. I was like, I actually hadn't thought about that, but now that you put it in my head, for sure. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, he seems like a really funny guy. Business in front, party in back seems like it fits in perfectly.
Yes.
So let's go back a little bit. So where did you guys meet? How did you guys get together?
Yeah, so we both went to Indiana University, and he obviously played football there, and then I actually worked for the football team there.
Oh wow.
So that's some tea. But no, we got to know each other really well over the 4 years that we were there together, because he's a couple years older than me in school-wise. And so we just got to know each other, we had a couple classes together, that kind of thing. And then once it was time for him to leave for the draft and everything, it was one of those things we're like, wait, we don't want each other to not be in the other's lives. And then, of course, he gets drafted by the furthest team possible. But it's been the best case. Yeah. And then, we just obviously kept in touch and kept hanging out. I even flew out here a couple times. My poor dad, I thought he was going to have a heart attack. He, because he knew I had this guy I was dating. Didn't know he was living in Southern California and all of that. Because I actually went to school 40 minutes from home, because I'm from Indiana. And then moved 2,000 miles from home. So they were nervous, but it was good. It's been really great. Yeah. And 4 years later.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about, you mentioned it briefly, the draft process, and were you with him the day he got drafted, and what was that like?
So I was actually still in school, and we weren't technically full dating it, because he was back home in Chicago area where he's from and all of that, but I was still down in Bloomington in Indiana University, and I remember watching it with a bunch of the other workers and that kind of thing that worked for the team, and we were all just like, where's he going? And just constantly freaking out. And then we got the got the news that it was the Chargers, and it's been awesome since. So it's been great.
That's so cool. Like that
Yeah.
must have been crazy to like just see all these places all over the country where he could go, and you might be going to visit him, and then you land in one of the most beautiful parts of the country. So that must have been pretty cool.
Absolutely, yeah. And then they were still in San Diego originally too when he got picked up, because it was so he was drafted 17. And that they finished up the OTAs down there, and so he was down there for a couple months, and I had visited him twice down there, and it's so nice. But we love Orange County too. It's just San Diego. There's nothing like it down there.
I know for sure. Yeah, I love San Diego so much.
Oh yeah.
So it's been an absolutely weird year to be a Charger fan, and I'm sure you have experienced secondhand kind of some of it. So,
oh yes.
What is it? The ups and downs, like especially this year? How has that affected you?
Right. So it's like it's more of like a soul thing too. Like, yeah, of course, like it's never fun to lose as a fan. And then even more when they're coming home and you're having to be like, you did so good. And he was like, actually, I didn't look at this play and this play. And I'm like, I'm sorry. But it's hard for me too, because I actually I understand football. I've worked in football. Like I worked up at USC for a couple weeks when I first moved out here too. And just like, I understand the game. And so I feel like it makes it even like more interesting almost, I guess, to me, to be able to like understand it all and watch it unfold. Because like he'll come home right after the game and pull up the film. And so
right
it's
away.
like, and we'll watch it. Yeah. We'll watch it together. It's so funny. All the other girls, they're like, you watch film with him? And I was like, yeah, it's a date night. It's fine.
Date night watching film. I love that.
Right. Oh, yes. It's so funny. So I'm like, hey, all right, we can do it. But it works out well for the girls too, because we'll watch the games together and stuff, because we can't obviously be there in person. And everyone's like, okay, Emily, what was that? What does this mean? Like, it's so funny. So yeah, it's been great. But yeah, this season's been tough. For sure, but it's awesome seeing Herbie in there and like being able to grow in his position, and then obviously Dan too, because this is the first year he's like played center like fully.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So with Dan, his first year at center, and then with Justin Herbert, who came out of absolute nowhere, and it's like everyone loves Justin Herbert right now.
Absolutely.
What's the general vibe and thoughts on Justin? Because we kind of are only hearing what some of the players are saying, and it's all kind of politically correct. But what are the thoughts on Justin?
So I actually personally haven't got to meet him yet, because we've been in such lockdown, and then especially right now they're only at the facility for practice and that kind of thing. So it's just like I haven't even got to meet him yet, but Dan loved him. Him and Dan and Easton Stick, they all three are always texting like, hey, did you see this look? Like, what do we think about that? Like, it's so funny. But Dan just says how smart he is and how like good of a guy he is. But now I got in Dan's truck the other day, and he had a little trading card of Herbert, and it was like had some funny joke on it. And I was like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, it's an inside joke between me and Herbie. I was like, oh, okay.
That's awesome.
So he's definitely, like opening up and like hanging out with the guys in the locker room, that kind of thing. They love him.
My last question we have somebody we interact with all the time on our podcast. Her name's Karen. She's who recommended that out to you.
Awesome.
And I asked her, she had a question for you, so I'm just going to read you what she asked. She said, I'm sure there are so many wonderful and difficult things when you are in a relationship with an NFL player. What is one wonderful thing and one thing that is difficult? And she ended it with #vote Feeney for the Pro Bowl.
There we go. That's so funny. Honestly, all the cool places we get to go and travel and all of that is probably a wonderful thing, and the hardest thing too, because like especially this year. So like before now, we got to go to a ton of away games. We went to London, we went to Boston when they were playing in the playoffs, that 18 season. We booked it on a win. We're like, all right, let's go, hurry.
Awesome.
And then just different things like that. It's been incredible getting to know all the different guys too. Like you see them all as fans and that kind of thing, but then it's also like they're real people too, and a lot of them are intelligent, and you can actually have a conversation with them, not just like players and that kind of thing. So it's been really cool. But then again, one of the hardest things is absolutely moving away from your family, moving being away for the holidays, especially, has been super hard on me, especially this year. But my sister just had a brand new daughter, and I've only got to meet her once and that kind of thing, just because so far away. But it's been, can't complain too much. I'm in Southern California.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for joining us. We really appreciate it. And good luck the rest of the year and everything. I hope you have a good rest of the year. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And yeah, go vote for Dan for the Pro Bowl.
On it. I'll do it as many times as they love.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Yeah, dude, Emily rules. It was just Karen reached out. She's like, dude, you should reach out to Emily. She's really cool. I've been talking to her. I was like, screw it. I'll just message her. And she got back to us right away. I was like, oh my God, let's talk about the mullet. And she's really cool. It's cool that she worked in football
So
and
cool.
sounded like she was like a trainer of some sort. And that's awesome. It's cool that that's how they got together.
Her love of San Diego over LA, I'm all about that, Emily.
Dude,
That's
if you can
awesome.
if you're a football player and you've got a girlfriend that you can have game film and chill, that is a good relationship.
Yeah, he gets to actually go home and watch.
Yeah.
Go home and
Mullet
work.
man's got
Put
it
Netflix
made.
on hold.
Yeah,
We've got
dude.
some game film to watch, baby.
Yeah, game film and chill, bro.
That's awesome. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Emily. That's
Yeah, thanks.
That's
Emily.
an insight
we really
that we
appreciate
don't
it.
get to see as fans. And this is like really the first fan focus where we've actually got to talk to somebody that like has a relationship with a player that like we can kind of pick their brain on a little bit.
Actually can physically touch one of the players.
Yeah.
So it's awesome.
hearing about Feeney and
Oh my God,
Herbie like having inside jokes and stuff, like it's cool, you know, like
it makes them more
they're
real.
teammates,
They're not
they're
these,
boys, yeah.
right. I picture them giggling like little girls texting each other stupid little jokes, and it's just it makes my day.
Kind
It's
of like
awesome.
we do.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly like we
Yeah,
do.
exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Emily. Really appreciate it. Now we look over to Ask Twitter. Yeah, we seem to have quite a few this week, so we'll try to plow through this.
We got some new names
yeah, there's
too.
some,
I'm excited.
There's some new names here.
Yeah.
I like it. So for those of you that are new, just an FYI, I add some voices to some of these. It's not a slam on you as a person. I try to keep things interesting. So first one we have on the list is Alexis McWilliams, aka Sailor Elzami, who gave at least a request. So here it goes. How are you guys feeling about the rest of the season? I'm just hyped to see Justin, Allen, Eckler, and Bosa play well.
Get to the chopper.
Get to it.
I'm excited. I want them all playing well and fighting. You know, we got these 3 games, dude, are against teams that I can't stand because we play them so much. I just want to win.
And we keep losing to them.
Let's just flip this script and start next year without this like thing hanging over our head. Like we can't beat an AFC West team. Like let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have a big opportunity to just shut some people up, to be honest. Like I'm tired of hearing every analyst talk about how we haven't beat a team in the AFC West, and if we want to be able to compete, we have to do that. And oh my God, watching football this weekend and seeing at the bottom, like after our game, I was watching the Sunday night game, and at the bottom there's like breaking news: Chiefs clinch AFC West. I'm like, good golly, I want to beat the Chiefs so bad.
And dude, and it's this thing now with the fact that Tua just played Mahomes, and they're like they're like trying to set it up now. I saw a Yahoo article. They're like trying to set him up as like there's finally somebody to challenge Mahomes. It's like,
oh, get out of here.
What are you talking about? Like, did you not watch the first NFL game
Week
that
2?
Herbert ever played in his life and took him into overtime? Like, just because we're not a good team right now doesn't mean our quarterback isn't gonna be one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
Right.
Ooh,
Yeah, I know. It makes me mad. I almost like it. I get so pissed off. I am such a Herbert homer now. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Double H.
Yeah. Yeah, Alexis, I'm more happy to see Austin back out there and getting those yards. He in this last game he had 15 attempts.
He looked good.
Yeah, he got 79 yards on the ground, but I mean he was also catching passes from Herbert, so it was just
he had
good to see
130
him.
yards, something like that. It was crazy.
Yeah, over 100 yards for
All
sure.
purpose.
He had
he's
79
he's a
rushing,
game changer, man.
67 receiving. Like my question though is with him, didn't he just destroy his hamstring? but he's getting so much work.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm like, is he just a superhuman, or is the coaching staff just?
He sure is.
Let's lean into that.
There's no other way to put it. He's
I think he's superhuman. Yeah,
he's a freak, and I love him.
He's a freak of nature, and he's on our team. So back off, everybody.
Yeah.
And he's on our team.
That's right. We pick Eckler.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Alexis.
Thanks, thanks, Alexis, for reaching out. This is the first time having you on, so appreciate it. Keep them coming.
Appreciate it. Hope I did a good enough Arnold there for you.
Pretty nice.
It was nice. JP is next on the list, a.k.a. Jesse Burner, who asked the question. All right. Since we have been talking about cleaning house with the entire coaching staff, I think what would make the biggest impact is replacing John Spanos as president of football operations. What do you guys think affects the team's culture more? The coaches or the front office?
Is that one of those like Pilgrim?
That's my John Wayne.
Okay, Pilgrim. Dude, like, could you fire, like, your son? Could you just like?
There's no way.
There's no way.
We're stuck with this guy as long as the Spanos own the team. It's just a reality.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if it takes Lynn till like week 10 or 11 to get rid of his special teams coordinator. There's no way that they're going to get rid of.
Well, and they still haven't gotten rid of Coach Lynn, and he has no blood ties to the owner.
No.
Like there's no way. And I think that JP, your point is, I do think that a lot of the culture of the team stems from ownership.
Absolutely.
But there's no, as a fan, if we get too caught up in that, there's no way out of it. So there's just like, that's just a black hole that you will fall off into the abyss of fandom, because if you try to get caught up in blaming ownership, it's not going to change. So there's nothing we can really do. We got to hope for a coach to come in and say, I'm gonna do this, take over and change the whole culture by myself. And that's really what we need. We need that kind of a coach.
And I think the thing that you need big time, and this is why I kind of like Tommy T, is like, I think you need to have somebody that can work with this weird setup with this family that has a son is in charge of like a big part of the organization. Like I can't imagine you can thrive as like this independent GM in there. Like you need to be a certain kind of personality that can work with this bizarre situation. So I know a lot of people are like hating on Tommy T as well. Like I'm not one of those people, but it's just really complicated situation by all accounts. Like it just seems weird to me.
I think it's a good point. I think you're right. It takes a certain breed of person to be able to handle family as well as business at the same time. Like that's such a walking on eggshell situation. It's hard to imagine that any GM going in there and going like, all right, here's how we're going, and this is the end, and I'm putting my foot down, and it's like, not here in LA, my friend.
That's why I get so like kind of annoyed when people are like, Tommy T, like, he's messed up all these coaching choices. Like, are you really telling me he is solely responsible for picking these coaches? Like with McCoy, he showed up and 2 days later they hired McCoy. It was something like that. Like, let's be realistic about Tom Telesco, okay? Just try and chill a little bit on him if you can. I'm not telling you what to do, but it's just, it seems like there's a lot more going on, and it's not as cut and dry and simple as a lot of people are making it.
Right. I think if you had a competent ownership, then you can make the argument for Tommy T, but I think you're right. I think because the Spanoses are the ones really at the helm, it's hard to blame Mr. Telesco for all of those issues that everybody else has been bringing up. So,
well, our last GM was like this dominant, overbearing guy that was in everybody's business. And I think, when John Spanos got promoted, they had to get rid of him. That wasn't going to work. So then they brought in somebody else. So it's just a complicated situation.
It is. It absolutely is. Good point. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you, JP. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. Thanks, Jess.
Next, we've got Bobby Calderon, a.k.a. B Calderon 3. Asked the question, forget draft position. Winning is so much more fun in the short term. I hope this momentum gets us a W in LV against Denver and in KC to close the season.
Yeah, that's all I want. I just want to beat these three teams.
For real, dude. I would rather see Herbert smiling at the end of every game, beating AFC West opponents, than maintain the draft position that we have right now. I think there's going to be a lot of changes in the offseason. There's a scroll of players that are going to be free agents. It could be an entirely different team that we see next year. And if we can win we can see what players we have that can get us a win, especially against AFC West opponents in games that don't necessarily matter in the playoff. Like, that shows, I think, what type of player, what type of man you have out there on the field. Are they going to go for it even though they have nothing really to gain from it? Or are they just going to roll over and let us take another loss? So let's win, please.
And if you can't get on board with the winning, and I'm sure some of you can't, get on board with the Herbert train and wanting him to do well, because him doing well is just good for us, for all of us.
Right. It's like you kind of can't have it both. Like, we kind of want Herbert to win, but you can't just have him keep losing, man. Like, he's a winner, and Bosa's a winner, and these guys, there are winners on this team, and they want to win, and I want them to win too, quite frankly.
Amen.
So, thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. Next, we have Justin Herbert fan account, aka Grown Up Gambino, who asked the question. With Keenan setting the record for most receptions through his first 100 games, where do you guys rank him in the current standing of wide receivers? And why does it seem like Keenan doesn't get the love he should?
Dude, you should you could work at a mall if you wanted to, for sure, with that one,
I
bro.
don't know if I can handle 10-year-olds sitting on my lap.
Nor should you want that.
No.
Kyle, what are your thoughts on the K. Allen?
I think Keenan Allen is a top 10 wide receiver in the league, for sure.
Always the most underrated.
I think he doesn't get it. I think the reason that he doesn't get a lot of appreciation is because he's in a small market team that doesn't win a lot of games. I guess we're not small market now that we're Los Angeles, but we are kind of the second team. We're like one of two teams in Los Angeles, and we're not winning football games. You're not going to get credit if you're not winning games. So I think that's what's hurting him most, is that he's played for a team primarily that was in San Diego, that was a small market team, that then played in Carson, was another small, it's just in all top of all of that. I think that he's just not the speedster that has the gigantic plays. He's not the Odell Beckham that has big one-handed catches for 50-yard touchdowns. He's the guy that puts in work. He grinds. He blocks his butt off. I think if you take in every aspect of playing football, I think he's a top 5 wide receiver with his ability to block and be a team player and do everything he needs to do. But yeah, I think the reason he doesn't get a lot of credit is because we don't win a lot of games.
Yeah, it's definitely a bummer for him, because you can see him get kind of bummed out about it when he calls out Madden for his rating and all that stuff. And it sucks. What the good thing about this is that it's, they're not going to be able to just say Phil Rivers was the reason why he had decent numbers. Like, he's going to be able to do it with 2 quarterbacks. He's going to have it with Herbert too. So I think he's, like we talked about in previous episodes, he's got to be so pumped that Herbert is his new quarterback, and his numbers are only going to go higher. He has an insane amount of touchdowns this year. Like, he's just, he's second in receiving stats all year so far. Just, 1 reception behind Stephon Diggs.
Right.
So I'm very excited to see him finish out the year and stay healthy. Hopefully he's full, ready to go Thursday, because we need him against the Raiders.
Yeah, if we want to have any chance against the Raiders, we absolutely got to have Keenan. Got to have Mike Williams. Mike Williams was having some back issues in that game as well, this last game, so there was some concern there. He didn't play at all. Yeah. It was concerning. But also Keenan this year, he's got 8 touchdowns. That's his career high match. So any more touchdowns he gets, it's going to be the most touchdowns he's had in a single season ever. So I'm really excited for Keenan, and because we got 3 more games, and if he can stay healthy, it should be ball out these next 3 games. So,
and he's 25 yards away from 1,000-yard season. So stack them.
Let's make it happen. Thank you, Justin Herbert fan account. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Next we've got 17, the GOAT, aka Bolt Up 702, who asked the question, "Dude, screw everyone who's mad we won. One offensive lineman won't massively help our team. Now we can be in a position to trade back in the draft and stock up more picks, bro. We need way more help than one offensive lineman."
bro, like, that's exactly what I was thinking. And like, I think everyone should chill a little on.
I'm picking up on your vibes, bro. I'm picking it up.
You picking up what I'm putting
picking
down,
up what you're
bro?
laying down.
You picking
That's
it
right,
up,
bro. I'm smelling what you're cooking.
All right.
Nothing.
Let's get a burrito.
All right.
Yeah, I think there is. I don't know. I found myself like you want the best draft pick you can get, whether you're going to trade back or not. You kind of want to have the best draft pick you can. Obviously, like the better player, the better for your team. But I do agree, we're not looking for a franchise quarterback. Mm-mm. You can miss at 3. You could miss at 5. You could miss at 8. It's going to be about our staff being able to look at talent and assess it correctly and pick the right guy. I think you're going to be able to get a great lineman, hopefully, that we pick, whether you're at 5 or whether you're at 10, which we're not going to slide out of the top 10. So I think we're still going to be able to get the guy. Everyone wants Herbert
Sewell
out of Oregon. That's just not going to happen. He's going to be a top 3 pick.
In reality, to a certain degree, like if you fall back a little bit, you're more likely to land a lineman. You're not going to be overdrafting some of these guys, because if you don't land on him, what are you going to do? You're going to take the best available, and maybe a lineman isn't the best available there. So there's pros and cons to it, but there could be a positive in the sense that, you know, you fall back to what, 7 through 9, and then there's just an awesome lineman there sitting, chilling, waiting. And it's not the end of the world.
Well, you just never know what's going to happen in a draft.
Yeah.
You could fall way back and have a Derwin James sitting there for some reason. So you don't know. Like, you can't get upset about losses.
Yeah, we kind of forget that he was drafted like halfway through the first round.
Yeah, you can't. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know if we should be 6 or 9. You don't know what's going to happen. So to get upset that we're winning games, I think is a bit.
I think it's the OCD thing of people wanting Herbert's tackle from college to be on his current team. I think there's like an extra element of like, oh, that would be really good because they know how to work together. But
that's like a Cinderella story. Like that's a fantasy story, and as great as that would be, that could possibly happen. Yeah. So excellent. Thank you. 17 to GOAT.
And we might be there. We might, these next 3 games might not go very well, and we land right where we're talking. So let's try and win.
Right. If we look at how the season's gone so far, we should absolutely lose these next 3 games. But I want to win. I'd like to see these guys win. If for nobody else than for Herbert. I want Herbert to win more than anything else. So thank you, 17 to GOAT. Really appreciate it. And next we've got Salty Sports Guy, aka Salty Sports Dude. Always good to hear from him.
Yeah.
Always good to hear. So he asked the question: given our organization's reluctance to fire Lynn mid-season because of their insistence that they respect for him so much, do you think there is a chance Lynn can win out and somehow coach himself into keeping his job?
That was really good. Because he requested, can we try a pompous English accent?
This is my pompous English accent, you see.
Tea time.
Yes, tea and biscuits. All hail the queen.
I don't think you can bring back Lynn, no matter how the season finishes out.
There's no way.
Your organization, you can't.
But remember who we're talking about. I mean, we've been talking about that this is the Spanos running the ship, man. Like,
can they? Yes, they can do whatever they want.
Right.
Should they? Absolutely
right.
Not. No.
Right. From our perspective, they shouldn't. But dude, like, there's nothing guaranteeing that Lynn's not going to be back next season.
Except for that they need fans. They need fans in seats, and none of the fans want Anthony Lynn back. I've not heard one fan trying to defend Anthony Lynn should still be the head coach next year. You want fans in seats. We have a kind of an influence on what's going to happen.
I'm with you, dude.
And nobody wants Coach Lynn.
I'm with you. I think that should be what happens. But again, there's nothing that guarantees it. So it's all just got to be wait and see until we see the headline. And we've all expected to see it at the end of the Patriots game, and we didn't.
I think January 5th, you'll probably see something. Day after the season's over, you'll see something.
There's Huggins' bolt prediction, January 5th. Mark it on your calendar.
J5.
All right. Thank you, Salty Sports Guy. And now we've got some sound bites. First, we've got, am I reading this right? A drunk leprechaun Boz?
Yep.
Who is this?
He's
Who is
a
this guy?
diehard Bolt. He's from the diehard Bolt Club, New York.
I don't ever do this, but I'm going to make a statement right now. I love you guys. You keep sanity where there's insanity. I have one statement, and that is on Thursday, we got to beat the Raiders. We got to knock them out. We can, whatever happens after that happens, we got to knock the Raiders out. That's all I'm going to say.
Agreed.
I love it. I completely agree.
Touche.
You threw me off with the name. I was expecting a drunk Irishman to come on the line there, but that's not what happened.
Well, could you go as far as to say it's a successful season if we win the last 3 games?
No.
It's not successful because we made the playoffs, but man, it's the way you want to finish.
I'll feel a lot better with our 4 or 5 month break between football games if we do that. A lot better. I completely agree, drunk leprechaun, and I'm also Irish, so I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Excellent. Thank you. And next we've got the guy who predicted with some mathematician skills that the Chargers would win this last game, and they did.
Scotty.
That's Scott from OC.
Scotty.
What do you got for us, Scotty?
Hey, guys, it's Scott from Orange County. God bless it. We did it. Now I'm ready and energized to root for the upset against the Raiders on Thursday. But hey, how about Michael Davis and Rayshon Jenkins, huh? They're hitting their stride right now. And I know that we have the option to re-sign them in the offseason. So between them and Hunter Henry, I mean, do we sign all 3 of them in the free agency, or do we choose some of them? What do you guys think? Keep bolting up. Okay, love you. Bye.
All 3, please.
Yeah, I just think, like, you have a season without Derwin like this, where these guys are being forced to step up and have, a lot more weight and responsibility placed on their shoulders. They're only going to be better next year when we get Derwin, and they're even going to be more comfortable in their positions and in that secondary. So I think all 3 of those guys have deserved it, especially Davis. Like, he's been our best corner all year.
Yeah, I think that Rayshon Jenkins he's not played great at the strong safety position, but he's played enough to be serviceable. And I think he's played himself into a role where he can be diverse and he can play different places, and he's more valuable when he can do that. So he's not a great strong safety, but I do think he's a really good aggressive free safety. And we've seen Nasir have a lot of trouble just adjusting to the
not
NFL
being able
speed.
to tackle, dude. He had some big misses Sunday. Embarrassing.
So I think that Rayshon has worked his way into a contract. Michael Davis is going to be tough because he has had a pretty good year. I think he's going to have a pretty hefty price tag to be able to re-sign him. So it's just going to depend on what he's demanding as far as a contract
and our coaching too. If we don't have, if we have a new defensive coordinator, that could mix everything up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see, but we would like to see all 3 of those faces back. That would be great. Thank you, Scott from OC. Appreciate it. And last but not least, it's our old favorite. It's Craig from Texas, and he's got some words this week. What do you got, Craig?
Hey, boys. We lost the battle of who wanted it less. But hey, we'll take the win, right? Doesn't matter. Victory Monday feels nice for a change, but there are a few things on the docket here that I want to address really quickly. Looks like Lynn is blaming Steichen for that run call at the end of the first half, which resulted in that snafu that didn't get the field goal off. And it seems like there's some sort of internal fighting going on there. Not sure what it is, but hey, something to keep an eye out for. And Lynn with special teams resulted in Nas with a big kickoff return and also a walk-off field goal by Badgley. Really hope this isn't setting up for Lynn to look like the hero in saving special teams, which is the worst phase on our team, and saving his job ultimately. But we'll see how it goes. Either way, always looking forward to what you guys think. Bone gang or don't bang? Okay? Love you, bye.
I think you're 100% right there, Craig. I think Shane Steichen, I think, was doing really well the first part of this season when Herbert fell into the lap. I think we've talked about it before. He was making some really good plays, and now I don't know who's calling the plays. That's the thing. Kevin sent a text, and I think he even tweeted it, like, with with Lynn with the mic down, looking at the play sheet, making play calls.
I tweeted it. They posted it. We're showing it on the on the live broadcast. It was right in the middle of a play going in.
Right.
And Shane Steichen's headset was up and Lynn was down and he had the play sheet. But if you're doing that, but then you're not giving him control throughout the game, like, I don't understand that. And then he also said Pep Hamilton was involved in some way. So it's just forgive my language, a fucking free-for-all over there. Like, you don't know what's going on. And and the fact that he kind of went out there and you knew exactly what he was doing when he said, we don't run on that down. We don't run on that down. Like, all right, dude, like, you want to state that, but then you don't want to elaborate.
Right. But why would you not say that during the game? If you're going to be so adamant about that in the press conference, tell that to your OC that you're having an influence on what seems like the rest of the game.
Right.
Don't go and then talk crap about him in the press conference.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just he has no control of his coaching staff. He's not in charge. He doesn't know what's going on. He has no. He's
It's
just lost
micromanaging.
all control.
That's what it feels like. It just feels
But
like
it's not even. It's like
it's bad micromanaging.
He wants to micromanage, but he doesn't know how to.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It feels like
good.
micromanaging from somebody that doesn't either fully know the job or fully understand, or he's got too many things on his list of, his checkoff list that, like, I got to make sure all this shit's done. And did you do the thing? Okay, bye. And then, like, there's just too many. He's spinning too many plates. They're falling all around him. He's picking some up, and it doesn't bode well for him. It doesn't bode well for Shane. And I don't think that he is, like, excuse the expression, the white knight, saving this team by taking on special teams and, like, winning his job back. Like,
no, he's not. He's proving he's making his special teams coordinator resume better. He's not helping his head coaching security whatsoever.
And it's just making it more obvious to everyone that his focus has become more narrow. It's like, I've kind of lost this team. I've lost this season. I can focus on this and make this one thing better. That's what I'm getting out of it. I don't, I'm glad we had a better game. This was clearly the best special teams game we've had all season. But to say that, Lynn's job is possibly going to be safe at the end of the year, like, I would be so just bummed out if that were the case.
100%. I think fans would hate to see that. So appreciate it, Craig. Appreciate everybody.
Thanks, Craig.
Reaching out on Twitter. Thank you all the new faces. Happy to have you. Happy to have you asking questions. We love the interaction here. So thank you, and keep on keeping on. Next game that we've already been talking about it, is the Las Vegas Raiders.
It's coming quick.
At that Toilet Bowl Stadium in Vegas. The
Roomba, the giant black Roomba.
The black toilet that Jeff Daniels shits in Dumb and Dumber. Apparently, let's see. So the beginning of our 3-game AFC West run to finish the season. That's right. We've got Raiders, we've got Broncos, and we've got Chiefs. The Raiders have lost 3 times by 40 or more points. To the Bucks, to the Falcons, and the Colts.
And they literally just like yesterday, they fired their defensive coordinator. So, Kyle, my question is, going into a game against a team with a new defensive coordinator, what are the pros and what are the cons?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really know what to expect. When you see, and you can, like, scout a team, pick up consistencies, look at the way they defend certain formations. Going into this week, you're not going to have you don't have much game tape to go off of. Rod Marinelli, their interim defensive coordinator, he's been a coordinator in the league before, so I guess you could go back and look what he has done and what he's known for and some of his consistencies from that aspect. But you don't know exactly what his plan is with this personnel against our team. That's hard in a short week, right? What is he really going to be able to change? And they like to plan these Thursday games with a divisional opponent because you know the team so well. You already kind of know what they're going to do. You've scouted them in the past, but that doesn't really help us or them right now on a short week. Where we have 3 days to prep, but we don't know what really to prep for defensively. Same thing for them. Honestly, it seems like they can't really change much. So I would assume they're going to come out with something very similar. But it makes it difficult. It's hard to change a whole game plan in 3 days.
Yeah, it seems like it could be good either for us or for them. We could be more second half adjustments, which we aren't we're not the best at. So hopefully it's something where we can just come out and and just go for it. The one thing is good to know that it's not a new offensive coordinator because, Gus doesn't seem to target.
But that doesn't really matter to Gus. He's just going to sit there and run that.
He's just going to go do his thing every week, whoever he's playing. So I guess it's we'll see. It's definitely a factor. I think it's good for us because you just fired one of your coaches, and you're firing a coach when you're still in the playoff run, and we're not, and we still have our head coach. So
is that good though?
I don't know. I'm just kind of stating facts. Facts are facts, and that was a fact. Also a fact. Segue time. Another fact. You guys want to hear a fun fact?
I always like fun facts, buddy.
All right. Fun fact number 375. If we beat the Raiders, their probability of making the playoffs goes from 33% to a mere 8%. So, guys, can we all get together and make this an 8% day? I think that would be nice.
That would be excellent. I would love to see that. Just smush the chance.
It's just the Raiders. Everyone in this fan base feels the same way about the Raiders. We don't like the Raiders.
Right.
Their fans are a pain in the ass. The team's a pain in the ass. Losing to them's a pain in the ass. Beating them kicks ass. So let's just kick some ass.
Kick his ass, Seabass. That's what we want, Herbie. All right. Well, we all know what we want. So now let's take a look now to bolt predictions as to what we think will happen in this next Thursday night game against the Las Vegas Raiders. What are you thinking, Huggin?
I think we're going to put up a 30. They've given up 40 points like it's nothing. And they gave up 40 points to the Falcons, who we just played, and to Phil Rivers, who we love, and
good to see
to
Phil.
The Buccaneers. They put up 40. So I don't know if we're getting to 40. I think I'm going to go 38-27 Chargers. And I think Gabe Neighbors is going to catch a touchdown pass.
Catch a touchdown pass. That'd be nice.
Yeah, another full. He got one. I think he got one or two from Herbie at the beginning of the year. I was like, you know what? This feels like a fullback kind of game. Kind of a get it to a bruiser and go knock somebody out. So I'm feeling the Neighbors touchdown.
I like it.
Yeah, what you got, Kai?
I'm thinking 27-21 Bolts. And my bold prediction is Justin Herbert throws for 400 yards in this matchup with the Raiders on Thursday night.
I love that.
Wow.
I just think we're going to let it go. Start throwing that deep ball a little bit. Take advantage of this new coordinator. Maybe he makes a couple of mistakes trying to mix things up. And Herbert goes big this week.
Nice.
Awesome.
I like it.
What about you, Wolldog?
I'm thinking I've got to get very specific because on this Charger Chat podcast, the only host that just nailed it on all four fronts was so stupidly specific that it actually happened. So my bold prediction is going to be Chargers win 31-25.
25.
And my bold prediction is that
25.
Raiders are going to have the ball on the very last drive. We're all going to be clenching our sphincters. And we're going to get an interception. I'm going to say Jaleel Adai, man. I'm going to say Jaleel Adai gets the game-ending interception to ruin it for the Raiders.
All right. I do have one variable I want to ask about because I see him. He's like their only threat really on offense that I'm seeing every week is this Darren Waller, the tight end. Yeah. Is he going to have a good game against our defense? Because I'm a little worried that what we've been giving up with our linebacking areas of coverage, I'm worried.
Well, if you look at what he did against us in the first game, he had 5 receptions for 22 yards. So hopefully we can repeat that kind of a performance and we do shut him down. Because, he's been kind of a force for them.
Yeah.
In all the weeks that they're successful and they win ball games, it seems like it kind of revolves around him. So hopefully we can repeat that performance and come out on top this week.
Excellent. Well, there you go, folks. That is our game-winning episode of the Chargers against the Falcons, looking against the Las Vegas Raiders, coming up here just around the corner in a few days this Thursday. So be ready. It's going to happen. Thank you for everybody for sticking around this entire episode. We really appreciate it. Those that have reached out on Twitter, those that talked to us during the games, God bless you. We love talking to you guys. We love interacting with you. So thank you so much. Keep sticking around. I know we're not making the playoffs this season, but let's win one for the Herbert. for the sea bass,
For the Herbies.
for the Herbie, for whatever you want to call
For a
him.
Hollywood.
For a Hollywood
Yeah,
Herbie.
whatever you want.
Whatever he is in your book. Let's just win one for Herbert. So don't forget, folks, to bolt up because we're ready for any squad, any place.
Okay, love you. Bye. Can't believe I lost in fantasy.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye. And now, a word from our sponsors. Guys, let's be honest. We'd all wear a mullet if we could. It's a fact. But we all know the time and maintenance that needs to go into having something that reflects our business in front, party and back mentality. When you have a mullet, you need to ensure its protection. That's why we invented Dan Feeney's Mullet Armour. Dan Feeney's Mullet Armour is the only hairspray meant to protect that precious and delicate mullet. The spray consists of Line-X for protection, Teflon so debris slides off easily, and has an SPF 100 ranking to ensure no damage from Mr. Sun. Plus, it leaves behind a fresh sandalwood scent, so everyone knows you're a man that appreciates his mullet. So before you go outside with that sick-ass mullet, make sure it's protected with Dan Feeney's Mullet Armour. Find it at your local Home Depot.